Guys, welcome back to another episode in Dubai for another amazing podcast episode. So today it's a little bit different because normally with all my guests, I go with like, we have some sort of brief or script or like a kind of style of what way we're going. But I've been working with Harsha and have met Harsha a year ago nearly, which was crazy. Like in America, it was in the Miami event, wasn't it?
I think we were in Austin.
Or maybe it was Austin, the intensive.
That's right.
And I just thought today, instead of having like the way I normally do everything like a structure, what we're going to speak about, I just wanted to kind of go with flow and use this more towards women and what we face, whether it's in business, with ourselves, with our body, with our mind, how we're feeling, because that's in summary what I'm kind of doing with you right now. Like we were kind of talking about like death and rebirth and like just becoming overall and evolving, and I couldn't really put into words as to like what we're doing or what I do with you. And I was like, maybe you just give everyone a little insight into kind of, I don't really know how it is with how we kind of describe what we're doing or what you do, but it might be a summary for you because I actually would like to know that as well.
So yeah, like flow, I feel like it could just become a conversation because that's really who I am and what I do is just getting into a space with people. And one thing that's like really present for me right now, sitting across from you, is like I feel like we bring opposites of spectrums together, and essentially like my philosophy in life is understanding that like really it is all that, like we are a center point on this spectrum that goes in opposite directions, but that if we can take that spectrum far enough, what really happens is like it actually just circles back down and it just meets at another center point. So I feel like it'd be really good for us to just go into conversation, sharing our like who we are. I came from a certain background. My life took me through traveling around the world, started in India. That's where I was born. I grew up in Dubai in the 90s. And then I moved to Canada. My family moved to Canada when I was like 9 years old. So for me, I found that what I was working with as my lived experience, that I was here to transcend and accept at the same time, was just certain belief systems that women have just been programmed to have from the very start, you know? And I found myself, as much as I was aware that like, hey, this is not really working for me. Like I see it and yet I can't see myself out of it yet. But just that little drop of awareness of like, I know there's something else meant for me. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but that I know I'm meant for something different. That was like the window of access that I feel was just guiding me through my life, that allowed me to be sitting here across from you, which again, it's like from the outside, it looks like we have polar opposites, but I feel like so connected to you from the moment that we met. It's like, there's actually so much similarity. Literally. And I feel like more women, I guess just witnessing our conversation and how it evolves, is they see two different women, but that they see that we're so alike, but not in that we're being the same as one another, just that we know who we are, and we are at that center point of ourselves, and we're being guided by something bigger than us, and we understand that the differences aren't really that different, because you take that model of you go far enough in the difference and it's actually like the same like point at the center, it's just in a different place, you know.
I love that.
So what do you get from that?
Yeah, I love that. And I didn't even know that you were born in India.
Yeah.
No way. I never. And how long were you there before you came to Dubai?
Like 2 years. I was little.
So everything was here in Dubai when it was obviously only being built, and like it was like the old school style.
Totally, completely different place. Like when I grew up, I think the tallest building I saw here was like 10 floors high. It was like the tallest building I remember seeing. So coming back and seeing it like this now, it's like, wow.
The future is just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like it's reflecting me, you know, like I grew and I came back.
Yeah, I love that. That's so nice. But I think exactly like what you were saying there about how different we are, but also I think it's the connection. Like from the minute we were at that event at the intensive, I don't know what way it happened, but we ended up connecting at the same table, sitting beside each other. You were going back to Dubai. I was telling you about I had lived there. We exchanged contacts, and then since then it was just like complete, like it was like a full circle moment. Like I knew you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I always wonder, like when I asked, remember when you came and you done the event for the girls and stuff, like even that, it was just like, that was just something and someone that came to mind, and you were the first person, and it was just like so easy. And I feel like even on our calls that we're having as well, like everything was just so perfectly timed. Like when we had our call in America, when I was there at the time, I was kind of in a very, very, very different position, and I wasn't meant to start the course with you until I actually got home, and when I was able to process and digest everything, because it is like you're nearly peeling back the layers more and more. And like the way you kind of describe it to me all the time, like that little pearl, that gold pearl, like that expands as you obviously become more energetic and more connected with yourself. That little pearl for me is like, it's like peeling back all the layers, like what I was saying off the sweet corn that time, and like that little thing is in the middle. Like that's kind of what I'm doing all the time to like be more self-aware. Like why do we do all of this stuff? And the work is the main question that I know people that are listening right now, they're going to be like, well, like I know myself, like, but you don't really, because like I don't think we truly do until we get to a deep level of consciousness. So how do we kind of explain that to someone? That would be my thing when I'm listening. I'm trying to think of how would someone understand, why are we doing the work that we do?
That's a personal question. I feel like people, the answer doesn't come from somebody else, but I think just having that question in your heart, you can trust that that's going to lead you to where you need to be next for your next uncovering. So yeah, like you said, someone will say, I know myself. Like, yeah, you do. And there's so much more. So yeah, also you don't. And what my journey has helped me realize, it's never this or that. Like our world has us very like, it's this or it's that. And it's this or it's that, whatever it may be, right? Like, but truth is it gets to be this and that. This and that. And you can pick in any given moment. Right now I'm picking this. Later on I'll pick that. But that I'm not, by picking one or the other, I'm not closing off my heart to the other side of things. So just to give some context, breathwork is like the mode of work that I do, but it's way beyond that. Breathwork is just like the gates that open into the palace of empowerment. And the breath is the number one way we can allow ourselves to be open enough to allow there to be more, because the energy that we live in this world is very like heady and mind centered. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, but you can be with that, and you can be with all of the rest of you that exists. And there's intelligence in that system that when it's open, it can allow you to unravel, shed old beliefs. Like, you know, you're talking about peeling the layers off, realizing there are so many ways that you were thinking about things, and now they may not be so resonant. And when you can be with your whole body system, body, mind, spirit, then you can allow yourself to release that without it being a fight with that part of you, without shaming it, without saying like, that's no good for me anymore. It's just, you can honor it and say, that served its purpose. And now I can see that my life is taking me to something new, and I'm willing to go there, which I feel like for a lot of people, that's actually more, it's easier said than done. And it becomes a little bit of an internal battle of, if I want to move on to something and I'm going to lose something that I had before, that means all these things. And those meanings come from that, like a whole different place that may not actually be true to you. So I feel like coming back, even just how we met, I feel really called to share this.
Yeah, tell me.
Especially like coming to the culture of like Indian and Irish. Yeah. I learned this like a year before I met you, right. Which after we met, I'm like, okay, this is making more sense. So I had met another Irish woman, and she said, you know, Indians and Irish have a lot more in common than you know. I said, tell me more. She's like, yeah, both of our countries were colonized by the British. Our flag colors are exactly the same. Literally, they were not being creative. They just took our flag and turned it this way, and it's the same colors this way. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, one part, so putting it in practical, I had grouped all Europeans as like one,
Yeah.
right? And so just learning that was like, wait, there's something different in that that's allowing me to see things differently. And I know that happened because possibly somewhere inside of me, I'm on this path of growing, knowing that everything that I thought was true isn't really, has allowed this information to drop into my heart. And then life has happened, and then that moment happened where they were like, find a partner, and everybody was standing up, and I just looked up, and there was only one other person who was still sitting, and it was you, and we locked eyes, and it was like, you're my partner. And it happened, you know,
It was
like,
you're my partner.
and
Yeah.
how does that happen? Like, you can't mind your way into that, right? And after we have gotten to know each other, now I can see that you are on, like, that's you too. Like, you have questions in your heart. You know, this is my reflection of you, is you know who you are, and you know that there's so much more for you in this lifetime. And so the work we've been doing together is honoring who you are, and you having the space to explore something new while honoring all of what you have been, and then create that for yourself without me saying like, this is what you have to do and this is what your path is, because I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's what empowerment is.
I love that answer. And you don't give me any of the answers. Like, you nearly, like, you sometimes don't even ask me the questions. You'll let me tell you how I'm feeling, or if a question comes up, it might have come from myself, and it's normally then the answer that I'm looking for. But when you're really working on yourself, like, and you're trying to summarize to someone like how important this is, and like, you look at every area of their life, and like, I've started to question a few things, obviously, over like, especially like the last 2 years or so, when you get a little bit deeper into your work and you're more connected, you start looking for a few more things, and like, you question a lot. And as a young child, like, I used to always, like, up until I was like 18, like, my mom used to be like, Kira, like, why do you need to know why all the time? Like, I used to be like, but why? Like, I don't understand. Like, why is, like, I would say something like, why are they called hands though? Like, I literally would ask, like, and then I'd be like, but why? And my mom's like, Kira, there's no why. I don't know. Like, I couldn't find the answer. But I was always very curious from a young age, and I always knew as well, like from a, say, like, I'd say when I was a little bit older, like 19 up until like where I am now, I used to always know, like, I was destined for more. Like, I knew I wanted more. I knew I didn't want to live where I was. I knew I wanted a very different life and the path that I'm on. And like, I had this conversation with my mom, because she's obviously here with me in Dubai. We've been having like great time together, like such a laugh. Like, we're so similar, but like, I've noticed things that I am changing within myself that I wouldn't do now the way I used to, because you kind of just bounce back and forward with someone. When someone says, and you're having a bit of a bitch, or you might be having a conversation with someone, you're naturally going to be bouncing back and forward with them. But now I'm kind of like, well, no, I wouldn't really do it. And she's like, Kira, you're more wise than me, you know, like, because she's like, she's understanding, and I'm trying to also help myself, but I'm also healing and trying to help her as well, after she's gone through, like, we all go through a lot of things. But I think people need to understand that the work that you do for yourself, this isn't a selfish thing. It's actually the most loving thing that you can do for you, and also for everyone else around you, because my clients benefit, my family benefit, my mom, the people closest, me, but it all starts with me, and no one else can benefit if I don't do it for myself. And that's why when I feel something's off in my body, when I feel something's off in my head, if, like we said, like, if there's a fluctuation with finances and it's up and down, like, it nearly feels like the external things don't really bother me anymore. It's kind of like, like, you know, obviously the process that I had been through, I don't want to disclose too much about like the visa and stuff like that, but it's a process. It's meant to be a struggle. It's meant to be hard. But all the signs that I have been getting have been just like, when you're really tuned in, you can see how it's signaling this and that, and you're looking at it in a very different perspective. And I think that's what makes the good to the great. And again, it doesn't define you by, I'm not talking about finances here or anything like that, or your job. I'm defining it by the human being and the person and the energy and the soul that you are, that you can go from being okay to good to outstanding. That's and right. Like a unicorn is what I like to call it.
Love that.
You know,
you're making a lot of really important points that your audience, I'm hoping, I'm just going to highlight for them, because these are the points that, you know, I believe, I actually know this, that we all have that part of us that's like questioning that's our true nature. And when there's nothing wrong with it, but like, you know, we've grown up where we've had parents for safety reasons and things like, don't question, because you're gonna cross you're gonna cross our level of knowing, and then we don't know like how to guide you beyond that. But we're all seeking out that's evolution. Every generation next is going to do that, and that's the challenge of parents, I think, today more than ever, is to understand the parenting that we had, and then when we have kids, how do we take the good part of it, and how do we allow the evolution to happen? So what I'm trying to point out here is having that question is inherent to every human being. And as a woman listening to this especially, we're going to have more of that, because we have a sense, we have an intuition, because we have a body part that is designed to bring life into the world in a way that it's just biology, even, that we have access to something that the other gender just doesn't get to have. And with that, you know, when we can honor our questions and just be in the question and not need the answer to necessarily come from somebody outside of us, but to hone in on our belief of something bigger than us that's guiding, letting that question happen, and then knowing that there's something else that you said. It's like, you're going to be met with resistance.
Yeah.
And you're going to be met with people saying you shouldn't ask that, you shouldn't do that, whoever it may be in your life. It's okay if you've quietened that part of you that stopped questioning, because it's like, well, now just this is the way it is. But then there's like a sort of like an unsettled aspect of life, because there's a really core piece of yourself that is meant to be expressed that is being held back, which is just questioning and exploring and having a curiosity, which I think a lot of women lose out on because of these stories of you shouldn't ask these questions, as like random as they are. Allow that to happen, and then see what happens beyond that, no matter what anybody else outside of you is saying. And it takes a level of strength, because not everyone's gonna be like, yeah, go ahead, ask those questions, take that step. You know, they're actually more likely gonna say, maybe you shouldn't, watch out for that, don't do that. And that's where you get to then come into yourself, trust yourself. And like you said, it's like a kind of, it feels selfish, but another inherent aspect of humanity, I'm seeing it in my son even, he's 3.5, and I'm realizing this, is we are meant to serve. We don't ever just do things just for ourselves. In fact, the more someone's doing it just for themselves, over time, that's going to work against them. Yeah. Over time, that's just not going to work out for that person. It may look good on the surface, like you're accomplished, but deep down, there's an unfulfillment, because you're not being of service truly to others. So there's that fear of, oh, if I take this step, if I go against what parents or like whoever else is saying to me, that I'm going to let them down. Well, the whole point of evolution is that we go beyond what our previous generations did. So it is going to trigger them, because they're going to try to keep us under their wing. Yeah. Our whole point is to fly out of that nest and create a new of our own. And so coming back to allowing ourselves to be in that space, and knowing that by taking that quote unquote selfish way, we're actually going to be able to serve better the people around us, our business, our family. And then over time, the people who were saying to us, don't do that, like you just shared with your mom, they'll be able to see back and go, oh, like I'm opening up to something new. And we wouldn't have the opportunity to give them that unless we take that courageous step to go beyond what they know in this lifetime, you know. And it's again, it's easier said than done. But that's what you're saying, that I hope your audience can pick up on in their own life, like wherever that's happening for them. And that doesn't mean like one thing I really appreciate about you is you really have so much love. You are just the most authentic, loving, grounded, rooted person. And that as much as your direction is like you have an energy that's like, I will do whatever it takes to get where I need to go. You never turn around and look at anybody saying like, that was terrible, that was horrible, that was bad. It was like, it wasn't great. Like, I wish it would have been different, but I have love for it. And I resonate with that myself, because that's how I feel too. It's like, I wish it didn't happen that way, but I get why it did. Yeah. And I can talk about it because I have love for it. Like you can talk about it because you have love for it. Why I'm saying this is we need to be able to look back and appreciate it for what it was, and then like pick up our stuff and go, I'm going this way, and then take that step. You know?
It's like the warrior is what they call it in parts of like your star sign, and obviously like mine is Aries, so it's a little bit more fiery, and the time that you're born, whether you're into astrology or not, there's different syncs and how you're feeling the time you're born and stuff with the moon and all of that. But with what you're saying right now, I actually had this is funny, every time we say something we always have something to resonate with. Last night when we went for a dinner, we were sitting and I actually sat back and like it was the first time that I had said it, and like I brought my mom here, like booked her flight, like I'm paying for everything for her. It's the first time that I had been actually, she is allowing me to do that. Like normally she would take it out and I would kind of step back and go, all right then, like we'll kind of go half and half. But like she's like appreciating it. She's like, Kira's like paying for everything for me, and like Shirley, I can't believe you're doing all this. And she's saying to me nearly every day, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, and like I always know she is, but as an Irish mom, and a lot of my listeners will understand this, or even any wherever you're from, is like sometimes they might not say that if they're very connected to you, because like they don't want to sound like they're gloating about their child. And my mom was never like that, so she would always know deep down, like she always says, you are the best. I'm like, yeah, okay. And we will believe it, like, and we know, but she will never gloat to other people. And a lot of the other moms would be the ones that would be saying that, and she'd be saying, well, they're not even great. Like my mom's very Austrian. And this morning or last night when we went for dinner, I was sitting back and I just sat back in the chair, and like it was just at the sunset and we were just chilling, and she just wanted to have her beer in the sports bar place that we were, and we were picking something off the menu, and I just said like, I'm so kind. And she was like, you've always been so kind. And I'm like I just love making other people feel a certain way. And it's not that I intentionally go out of my way. It's just what radiates from the inside. Even from a young age, and my first job that I had, they used to call me Smiley. Everyone used to hate their job on the tills, and I would be like helping with older people going out to their cars. I'd be making sure people are all good. It's just been in me since I'm like born, you know, like it's just who I am. It's like my DNA. And when you say that there, like I'm actually being able to acknowledge that, because I normally live on a flight mode where I'm take off again. And I'm really like, I forgot that happened last week. And one of my friends was like, Kira, like that's a big deal. Like that's a big deal. Like, are you processing that? And I'm like, no, not really. I'll do that again. Like next thing. Yeah. And I've recently, obviously since working with yourself and even in the last year, like I've been really able to just slow down and actually like journal on a sit with myself in the bath and think about it, and like quiet everything else out. And like that's where self-awareness comes in, because you notice like you're not controlled by your phone, your device, the money, everything. Like everything's just flowing at the minute. And again, if it doesn't, again, it's not good or bad, but for me it's like I look at it and I say, you know what, I learned from that. And people are like, you are mad, do you not think that's the worst thing ever that happened to you? And I'm like, well, I'm after coming out stronger. I'm after learning and growing from it. And that's, I think, the difference between people that get bogged down in that negative energy and live in it and seep in it. And they've got illnesses and there's sickness. They've got no money. They've got bad relationships. Everything starts with you. And when you can sit in your feeling, you can feel it. You can have your cry. You can mope. I know it's like after I'm like, I'm actually all good.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I do you know David Gaham? How do you say his second name?
Oh yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He had up a reel yesterday that he had shared, and he basically spoke about like when you want and no, when you need anything, or like you really need it to be in that position, like you need to be living in that place, you need to be having that amount of money to be happy. It won't come to you because it's not like, how do I explain that? Because I was trying to actually summarize that in my head about needing, because everyone's like, I need to be at this goal weight, I need to have this amount of money, I'll be happy when. And it's like, well, you can't actually want it or have it if you need it, if that makes sense. Because I'm trying to summarize that for people that are listening, because I know there's a lot of people that need to be here and then they'll be happy, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, what I'm getting from that is what I've learned on need is when you're in that place of need, what energetically you're actually connected to is that it's not there. And you manifest, you attract what you are connected to on that energetic level. So on the surface, it's like you're looking like you're moving towards and trying to get the thing you need. But your core belief is saying, I don't have it. And I mean, you can read all of the other texts of everything that says like we attract what we are, not what we want. So if what we are is I don't have this, needing it is not going to bring it in. But when we can bring that energy of I have it, like even if it's not there in your life, it's like bringing that visual. We have, as humans, why can we imagine? Why do we have the power to dream and create vision in our mind from a place like that is something beyond what we're actually seeing with our two eyes? When we can use that, and it's not just seeing, it's like when we can feel into it. Like when you need something in the body, it's more likely to be the feeling of I don't have it. But when you can work with yourself, which is the work, we do, is, oh, I have it already. And what does that feel like to have it? What does it feel like I already have it? That it's here, even if it's not showing up in my life yet, it is here. How would I walk? What would I talk? Then when you don't have a need for it anymore, because energetically you've already attuned to already having it. Again, talking about it and actually going through the process is two different things, but we can talk about it because that's what we can do right now, is that you go into actually, I have this. Okay, for example, let's just use an example for money. I need this amount of money to make it in whatever way. Okay, well, in the body, it's probably the story is I don't have the money. I don't have that money. I don't have that money. But if you can work with it, this is where breathwork comes in, because the mind cannot do this. You need to use a mechanism of the body that's energetic, that actually goes into the feeling, the seeing beyond what's visible, sensing in a whole different way. Okay, go back to that place. Do you feel that contraction? Do you feel that you actually are believing that you don't have it? Okay, now let's just work with bringing the breath in, opening the energy channels, and now drop in the belief it's already here. I have it. Okay, what would you feel like? It's not here though, the story, but I don't have it. Yeah. Okay, what would it feel like if you had that money? Oh, I would feel much more peaceful. I would feel much happier. I would feel more content. Okay, bring that feeling in first. Bring the peace in, bring the contentment without the money. Then when you have that, you'll realize the money was what you were reaching for to fill that feeling.
Yeah.
But when you bring the feeling first, the money will come. And it's, I can only say it, but when you've been through it, you know that works.
Different.
It just happens. It's like, oh, I know it. I'm good. There's a little gap, right? Like there's always that little gap of like, it's not actually there, the reality, right? But when we can be mostly full and be like, I'd love to have that. I don't need it because I already have the peace. I know I'm taken care of, money just shows up. And it's really about core beliefs and like working with that. And our nervous system is sending out signals of what our core beliefs are. And we don't realize that because we think it's all about the way we're thinking and all that. You can think really positively, but if your nervous system is wound up in something and it's not conscious, you wouldn't even be able to think your way into that. It's a very subconscious part of you. Again, that's why breath work is so great, because it allows you to tap into the sub part of your mind and let that process happen. Because the human body already knows what the feeling of peace is. If you look at our original like makeup for like with little kids, or even when we were back in the days where money didn't exist, we did have access to feeling peace. We could still feel all that, but those things didn't exist that we thought we needed to make that feeling come in. So the work really gets to be to let go of the external world for a little while, going into isolation, feeling yourself, getting to know like, okay, I actually am okay. And then it helps to believe in something bigger than yourself. It really does. Yeah. Even if it's not about religion, it's about just believing that there is something bigger than you that you're connected to that can bring answers in a way that you right now couldn't answer for yourself, but that it will come to you through something. And, it's you were saying something earlier that I wanted to comment on is I feel that you can acknowledge your kindness, and maybe this is something to do with the Aries fiery sign of yours. Like you're pushing your limits, and like you kill yourself in the gym, right? Like you're not, that's not a pleasant experience, but you like go in there and you're like feeling the burn, and you're doing that consistently, and you don't let up on it. So to some people it's like, why are you torturing yourself? Like why can't you just relax and not do that?
Chill.
So there's a fierceness that you have for yourself internally, but it's coming from love for yourself. You're not doing it to like hurt yourself. You're doing it because you know it makes you better.
Yeah.
And so for those people who need to do that externally, and that's me right now in my life or in the last year, I've had to be more fierce with my external expression of things, not because I hate it, not because I don't like it, but it's like the way that we go to the gym to strengthen. We need to be able to be fierce in our expression of like boundary setting, things like this. So yes, being kind is one thing, but sometimes kindness doesn't work. You know, like being kind to your body might look like you skip the gym and you don't do the workout and you just chill out. But is that really being kind to yourself? So same thing, if there's a relationship in your life where being kind to that is not actually going to be the benefit, you need a fierceness for the love for the other and yourself to say like, hey, no more of this.
Yeah.
Like, that's not okay. You cannot talk to me that way. I'm not going to talk to you that way, or da, da, da. It looks fierce, but you're coming from actually you love that person and you love yourself enough to know like I can do this and it's going to make us stronger. So I want to bring that other side of the spectrum to the women who are listening, where you know, it's like, be the good girl, don't ruffle any feathers. Sometimes you have to be fierce, but it's really important to connect with love for yourself and love for everything around you. Until you know you have that, it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all going to work out because I think we're all evolving. So I'm not here to say you're doing anything wrong if it goes wrong. But if it does, like, you have the time to recover and repair that and say like, okay, I said something and I wasn't coming from love. I actually wanted there to be love in this, you know, and that kind of, so it's important for women to know that kindness looks like different things for different phases of your life, and loving yourself is the root of it all. Then the way you express yourself, whether it's fiery or really soft and sweet, love is the foundation of it. And that's what will ripple effect out to everything around you. And then, the need thing is just already feel that you have it, and then the need will disappear, and then you will get the thing that you want.
Gorgeous, so nice. And even listening to that, it's just like, I understand it because I know what it feels like. And when I was on the way here in the car, we were talking about someone with that was living in a very scarce mindset with money, with what they spend, with how they treat people. The energy of that person is very it can be very cold. It doesn't feel like love. It feels a little bit like the opposite. And then on my side, it's like, God, you spend a lot. Like you treat yourself a lot. Like you buy loads of clothes, all this. And I'm like, but I live from a love and energy of like, I spend those things on the things that I really value or the people that I love. And I will keep doing that, but it's full of love on this side in comparison to someone that's very scarce, very, you could say, like scabby with like a lot of things, with their energy, with their time, with themselves. And it just reflects in the person straight away. So even though you might say, and my mom was saying, well, Kira, you spend a lot. And I'm like, but I do that. And I'm like, I actually love that I do that. Because I love me. I love the people around me. I love my life. I love life. So if it means that it's just an exchange, what's the big deal? Because the guest that I had on yesterday, Ryan, he was like, Kira, it's just when you think about it, it's just a number on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
It actually isn't even real, because how can you receive a piece of paper and cash it into your account and it's meant to be a value of something when it's a piece of paper, you know?
Yeah. So
and
true.
when you break it down, you actually go, wait, what? So it is actually all an energy thing.
It is.
And people don't see money as that. They think like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know?
It's as you're saying this, I feel like the world has gotten so caught up in how things look externally. But like, I mean, even you, I would imagine that like some people might judge you from like how you show up in your life. But anyone who understands and works and sees themselves beyond what's showing up externally, when they meet you, they're like, you're the real deal, right?
Yeah.
Like they give you, and you, that's why I think you have the success that you do, is because you also live from that place. Like you can see people for who they really are. You're not looking at the external part of them and making a story about it. You really feel from the core energy place, whether you're aware of it or not. I feel like you do that.
Yeah.
And that's so important for your listeners to understand. It's not about what it looks like. It's about what it feels like on the inside. And we're all going to choose different things in our life. Like there's some billionaires who, if you were to walk by them on the road and like they love and everything, but they look like the simplest people. Like they look like they haven't bought a new shirt in like 10 years or something, because that's just not who they are. But then there's others who, that's like yourself, like that's the way you show yourself. Everybody has a different way of expressing who they are. Yeah. But when we judge, or when we only like look at the external aspect of it, and we haven't done our own internal work, we will make the meaning out of the external aspect of themselves rather than the internal. And we're all learning to do this. I'm learning, you're learning, we're all learning how to bring back that ability of, oh, I see you, but I'm not seeing you for the external. Like I love, it's beautiful, and yet who you are on the inside is what really matters. And there's some people who can look like perfect and they're all good and they're doing kind things, but then on the inside you feel like, oh, something, like they're not happy, or like something's missing, you know, like you've got everything in your life, you're doing great, but you're not happy. So what is that about? And if we can't even see that in them until we know that in ourselves, you know. If we're only basing it on the external, we will just say, oh, they're a happy person, and like just move on with our life. And then we will make everything in our life mean based on what we're doing externally. And we will try to live in a way that externally looks a certain way, but internally feels something different. And I'm not here to say that it has to be one way or another. It's about, for yourself, being like fulfilled with your external and internal world, and them being a match for one another. Yeah. Like where there's breakdown inside of me, I acknowledge it, and it shows up in certain breakdowns outside of me. And that's because it's congruent. Yeah. It's authentic. And things inside of me that are super in alignment and working out for me, in the external world too, that looks like alignment, and it works out and it's working great. And we all have areas in our lives that are working really great if we really look at it, that we feel really lit up about. And there's areas in our life where like things could be better. Yeah. Not that I hate it. It's just, it could be better here. And that's because I'm working myself to understand how I can be better for myself in this area of my life, whether it's health, relationship, finances, you name it, spirituality, like all these areas we get to look at and feel for ourselves. What does that mean? Even to the point of, for some people, getting to that place means isolating yourself, like going into not having to get people's opinions on everything for what you're going through, and just being able to sit alone with your feelings and feel them and make your own meaning about them. But then for some people, it's like you've been doing that a lot, and now you need to get out there, and you need to like have conversation with people who can bring you out of yourself and help you open up to something new. Now, two completely different realities, but both are like fulfilling in their own way. But it's up to you to realize, where are you at in that? And then flow starts to happen of like cycle of, I want to go inward a little bit. I just need to like be with myself for a bit. And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to meet with people. And then you can have both exist in your life. And it's not like you're out of balance. You know, the balance is like a fun game you get to play with yourself.
Gorgeous. It's your story. It's you decide that, and no one on the outside can say this is what you need to do, because even if someone says this is what you need to do, they can guide you and help to a degree, but the answer is always in you. Like, you're the only one that knows how you're feeling. You don't know what's going on in my head right now. I don't know what's going on in yours. So why ever try and control that, instead of just like what I say, put yourself in like an iridescent bubble, and sometimes you have to sit in that without hearing answers, getting the questions, like looking for that kind of validation as well from other people to find out what you're going to do next, or where you're going, or who you are, because they won't be able to give you the answers. And that's why when people look for it in a partner, they look for it in their job, they look for it externally. It's like there's no one out here that's going to give it to you. You come back to you. And as like we kind of come to like the end of the podcast, I had something in my mind that's just been coming to me while we've been kind of like talking about this, and it was ticket in or ticket out. And we spoke about this together, about like when you're evolving and when you're changing, it can be a very scary process, because you really start to like discover parts of yourself that you never even knew were there, and you start to look at people differently and life, and you start to hold yourself differently, and it just happens because you have literally changed, and you've peeled back that little layer, and you've literally stepped into a new little version of yourself, and that person here doesn't know what this person here is doing. So it's kind of like you're going back and forward. Like, I'm kind of confused right now because it is, I sure that's not me. Like, that was where I was happy in some areas, but you're not.
In relationship, you're talking about.
Yes,
right?
in relationship, or even in, say, for example, like with yourself, like if it's just evolving and you're saying, well, the ticket in or the ticket out is like, as I change and as I grow, and like what you had explained to me, this is what I probably did accept. If we're talking about relationship or even in business, this is what I did accept in the company or in the relationship when I met you. But I've changed and I've grown, and my values have kind of changed a little bit, and I won't really want that anymore. Are you okay with that as well? Because you have to respect the other person too, and they have to be willing to meet you halfway. And how do we kind of explain that, like in summary, like, this is where I'm at, you can also leave as well, because that's for me, that was like my point when I knew I was like, I'm vibrating differently, because I kind of nearly opened the door to say, I kind of know you won't be able to take the ticket in. So I love you so much that I would probably, if I was you, take the ticket out.
Yeah.
And people will think like, what the hell? Like, and I'm like, I probably would go that way if I was you, because I know this isn't going to align or work together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you brought this up. So I get a lot of women that come to me because of my own lived experience in relationship especially, but like you said, this can translate to business as well, where like we're evolving, we're growing, and possibly where it started was a different place. Now, in relationship, as women, we are, and even in business, we are evolving and growing always. We have these cycles where we literally, like, we shed out a part of ourselves, we bleed it out, we're like, there's a death happening, and then we birth a new realization comes in. The more we can accept that, one, we realize for ourselves that we can only work on our own stuff. We cannot work on anything else. Certain people have their own responsibilities in business and relationship, and that's on them. Yeah. And we have to have a realization of there is a cord of connection that we have, but that I am me and you are you, and that we're going through life together. Now, there comes a point where we're evolving, and we've come to a point where, like, I don't even recognize who I was before, because I think differently, I speak differently, I feel differently about things in my life. And then there's the counterpart, the business, maybe it's employees, maybe it's business partners, maybe it's life partner, where they're chugging along on their own evolutionary journey. There's a connection, but they're separate person. So then it comes a point where we look at ourselves, and because love, at the end of the day, if there's love that we can feel for ourselves and them, it doesn't matter what the external ends up being, because you could break up with somebody, split apart, and the love can be there, or you can get closer together and the love can be there. One is not better than the other, because at the end of the day, you're making the decision from saying, hey, look, I'm different now. I'm realizing things about who I was that I'm no longer there. And with where I'm moving forward to, this is where I'm going. So this is where it takes courage to say, I'm going here. Yeah. And I love this, and I would love for what we have to go in the same direction as well. But here's the thing, you don't owe me that, because I'm the one evolving. Now I am the ticket in, ticket out comes in here. Basically, you're saying to them, I'm going here. I would love for you to come with me, but you don't have to, because this would mean learning to love a whole new person who you did not originally sign up with. Same with company. It's like who I was as the leader of this company was a totally different person, and that's probably who you like fell in love with and connected with. And now I'm different. So now, are you willing to learn to love and go along? And it's going to require you to be a new version of yourself, because old you loved old me. Now I'm a new me. Old you cannot love new me. So you will have to become a new you. And if that's not for you, that's okay. So here it's like, I'm giving you the ticket out of this relationship. And I'm saying this because I've literally done this with my husband, where I've said, like, I'm growing and a lot of things are not okay with me anymore, like the way they were in our relationship. So I'm willing to end this because I know that what I'm calling in for partnership is this. And if that's not you, it's okay. Like you can walk out from this, you can end. But also, this is a ticket in saying, like, if you're ready, like, we're going to evolve and it's going to be something new. But you're giving them access to a ticket in. I think what happens with a lot of women when they're on this path, it's like out, just out,
That's
out,
me.
out. Like there's only an out. Yeah.
Gone.
So like, right. And like sometimes that's what it is because you just know, right? You can tell.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of women, and why I say this is women have come to me because they're like myself, the relationship started really toxic and all that, but they're like, but I just know he's my person. Like the love is there. I know on the like coming back on the surface, it looks like all of this, but deep down there's something that is undeniable. And the evolution that they're experiencing is like, I'm ready to be better. And I feel, and a lot of times I'm talking relationship, but you can apply this to any area of life, including finances and health even, is you know that it's like a test of the love. Because if the man really, really, really loves, he will change for you to come along on that ride. And as of what I've learned is we as women are leading that in relationship. We lead.
Yeah.
And unless we take that step, the relationship will stay in that old dynamic And when we can have that strength and courage to say, I might lose it all right now, but I'm willing to love myself enough to know that even if I lost it all, it's my love that's guiding me forward. And whatever else comes in next will be even more in alignment with me. And then I can lead with that conversation with the next person or the next company saying, look, I know I'm going to keep growing and evolving. And so we're aligned right now, but leave space for more growth. And then we can bring that to the next. But like for myself and my husband, every time I like to say we've been like divorced and remarried multiple times because it's like old version, not anymore. Literally, I'm like 3 days ago, I was a different person. Like I'm getting to know her. I'm learning to love her better. So it's unfair for me to put that on you because I'm still learning how to love the new version of me because she's new. But are you willing to join me on this journey as I learn to love her and then express to you what this version of me needs? And can you provide that? And I'm blessed. My husband's been like, yes, let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. And now he's like on his own like growth. So that's the ticket in, ticket out story.
That's what I wanted to like summarize the podcast with, because that's been like the butterfly for me, like the part of me that has always been on the express train. Like I am on express train out. Like I won't even see it on the flip side, but I'm gone and we're not even going to address it. I'm not even going to give you a ticket. I'm just gone. Like you won't even have a chance. And like now I've really been able to process that for myself with like, listen, like no matter who I meet or where I'm at, and I'm by myself for a reason because I don't need anyone. I'm not attached to anyone. I'm not like yearning for a partner as so, you know, like, and I used to always be like that, like one relationship, 3 years, next one. And like, this is 2 years that I'm by myself and I'm so whole that I'm like, I don't know how I'd even feel right now bringing someone into that, because like, it's like it would be a bonus on top of the pie. It would just be a little cherry, but like that would be it. And it's like, for me, I think that ticket in and that ticket out is so important for people to understand. As a business owner, your values might change and the company people around it might not like, but that's okay. Maybe it's time to like get rid of some old and enter some new energy, or else those people will want to grow to like a relationship. Ticket in, ticket out. Which one is it? Where are you going? And that person also will be on a growth journey too, and they will want that. They're probably scared as well. As a man, they probably don't want to open up to the degree that a woman would emotionally and say, well, yeah, I'm ready to do the work. They're like, what work would I need to be doing? It's like, well, you know, like they see what you're doing, you know, it affects everyone around you in a positive way. But I just wanted to like summarize the podcast as a whole. And this is funny because this studio here is called The Nest. And
I love it.
like, this is the nest, isn't it? The nest. And you said at the start, like, as in life and in the journey, like your mom is like, and your dad are the wings and you're under them, and then you fly. My mom's outside, and like I feel like I'm just flying now, and it's just like such a full circle moment. But I just want to say thank you as well from the bottom of my heart. I know we're doing some work next week as well with the girls and stuff. And this is why, again, this isn't just for me. I don't just do these podcasts so that you can listen and it gets views or whatever. It is for genuine help for people, and like with the girls, bringing them into that space for next week and being able to help them understand like you can tap into it a little bit more. Because again, when you hear a lot of things, it can be in one ear, out the other. That saying is so true. But when you feel something different and then the work comes back to you multiplied and you're like, whoa, I never thought that was possible. And it is. Like, that's when you start living free, and that's when you start living at peace is the word that we're going to use. So I just want to say, like, thank you so much for just sharing the flow that we have. And I'm so grateful that I got to meet you as well. And I'm super excited to see where this journey is going to take. And who knows when we'll be doing another podcast and where I'll be as well, and where you'll be too.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you.
So grateful. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we will see you on the next one.